Hey everybody, this is designed to be a video tutorial of how to get Evolution RTS running and how to use the lobby and get started. So when you start up the lobby, you'll be presented with this. Once the lobby screen comes up, just hit play the game. You'll need to create a new account. So go ahead and put in whatever you want. Don't use symbols, don't use spaces. And there we go. We get the user agreement screen. Just read it and click accept. And we get a games list. I'm going to join the alpha test server because it has a bunch of some latest stuff that I want to use in this game. So I'm going to join a team. I'm going to join team 1. And I don't want to use this map, so I'm going to select a different one. And so I click select map and find the one I want. And then I'm going to add a bot. So there's the null AI, but null AI literally does nothing, hence the word null. So I'm going to choose Shardlua, which will try to play a normal game. I'm going to click start game, and the server tells me that it's going to launch the game in 5 seconds. And here we go. So we just wait for this to load up. Okay, and here we go. Here we can see the resource locations. We can see our start location, which is in this green box. We just click wherever we want to start and hit ready. Okay, and when you start off, you're going to want to start off with some metal production so that way you can build things, because metal is needed to build things. Energy is used for utility purposes like units firing weapons and stuff like this. As you can see here, I'm queuing up a whole bunch of things at once, and you do that by pressing and holding shift while you're putting in new orders. And so here you can have a pretty long build queue so that you can just set it and then do other things. Of course, right now we're just building the initial structures, and so not a whole lot to do. But what I've queued up here is I've queued up a factory. I've queued up some orbs, which are field medics, in order to help build. And I've also queued up some supply depots so we can make our army bigger, and a tech facility so that we can get our evolves going. And right here is one of the orbs coming up. Now, as soon as it finishes building, it's going to help us build other things. So orbs are really important to have all throughout the game. Okay, here's the second one coming up. And here we're going to build a lifter. Now, lifters are capable of building the same things that your starting unit can. And here we see I'm using the Area Mex button. Now, to use this, you click Area Mex and click and draw a circle. And what it does is it queues up metal extractors anywhere within that circle. Now, right now, he's on a fight command, so he's going ahead and helping build anything he comes across. I'm actually going to give him an order here pretty soon as this basic energy generator gets done building. I'm going to give him an order to go somewhere, and then I'm going to re-queue up his stuff. Notice I'm putting a factory on repeat with 1 unit building. This means that factory is going to repeat its queue over and over and over and over until I'm either out of resources or out of supply. But at this point, I'm canceling the unit because I'm not actually ready to have units come out. It's not going to do me much good yet because it's still super early. So I just want to get my economy going. I want to get some supply going. These supply depots, in addition to making your army able to be larger, they also help your storage. They increase the amount of available storage you have. You'll notice the energy and metal storage up above, it keeps going up by 25 for every one that I build. Now, see, this lifter is on repeat, and so he's going around and making all those metal extractors. And the neat thing about repeat and building buildings is that if any of those get destroyed, he'll go back and rebuild them. Okay, and notice I can't evolve anything because I don't have Tech 1 yet. Right now I'm on Tech 0. But my tech facility is almost finished. And as soon as it finishes, I can evolve this metal extractor into Tech 2. That will increase its output. Okay, now I'm going to start getting some units out. And you can define your own mix. The repeat button makes it really simple to have the army composition that you want. And right here, I'm going to have an orb go and help the lifter. And also, you'll notice I clicked high priority on the lifter. That means that that lifter will get a much larger share of the resources incoming in order to build those metal extractors. And notice I gave my starting unit, the Overseer, a fight command. That means that the Overseer will help build anything that he comes across, as long as he hasn't completed the fight order, because essentially it just keeps on going. Now here you'll notice that I keep using lines in order to move my units around. Basically, to do that, you just select the units that you want, and you right click and drag a line, and it's a custom formation. It makes it super easy to draw your own concaves. Units will fire while moving, so you don't even have to tell them to attack. You can just keep giving them line move orders, and you'll see this later. I draw lines all the time. Okay, so now we have a healthy metal income. I'm getting some more orbs up so that we can spend all our metal, because any metal that we don't spend that overflows, we just lose. Okay, and here I'm drawing line orders, and I'm going to go see what he's got. Okay, he's got a tech facility building. He's got a bunch of orbs. Lost one unit to a mine there. That kind of sucks, but it's to be expected. Okay, I'm going to take out this orb. But the thing is, notice my energy. Units need energy to fire. And when they don't have energy, like as you can see right here, only one is firing at a time, because there's simply not enough energy to fire. Energy, in this case, is essentially ammunition. So you need generators, and you need a lot of them. Now, also important to note is that in order to evolve structures, you also need energy. Every single thing that you evolve drains 10 energy per second for the duration of the evolution. So when I click evolve here, the entire time those are evolving, they're going to be draining 10 energy. And so you'll see here, as soon as I finish this basic generator, I'll have -5, and I hit that evolution, and it jumps up to 15. And so here I'm going ahead and evolving things. As some things finish evolving, you want to evolve others. Keep in mind, the amount of evolution you can do is restricted by the tech level that your tech facility is at. Right now I have a Tech 1 tech facility, which is evolving to Tech 2. But everything else independently can be evolved to Mark 2, which is basically Tech 1. So I've got the factory evolving, which will give me unit buffs. And I've got mexes evolving. You'll also notice that I drew a brick of structures just there in order to build. The way you do that is you press Alt and Shift at the same time, click and drag a square on the map. Okay, and so we're going out on the attack here. Our energy income isn't amazing, but it's enough so that we can do fairly well for ourselves. Now, we do need to keep evolving things, but also we're running out of supply too. So we have tons of energy income. We're going to go ahead and use 30 of that to evolve some more metal extractors. Evolving metal extractors increases the rate at which we get metal. And so this will allow us to build more energy, more units, all this stuff. And you also notice that I am evolving my Overseer to a Builder Overseer. Now, there's 5 different forms of Overseer that you can use. The Builder Overseer gets 3 times increased build range and also 3 times increased build power. So for building a base, it's a really amazing form to use. There's other forms like the Battle form, the Cloaking form, the Shielding form, the Healing form, which is what it starts out as. And okay, so my tech facility is almost evolved to Tech 2. And there it goes. It's finished evolving to Tech 2. Now you'll notice I just queued up a geothermal plant to build. Geothermal generators are really important because geothermal generators give you as much as an advanced generator for half the cost. And see there, I'm queuing up 4 advanced generators. And I'm going to evolve these orbs. Notice I have 2 evolve buttons because these orbs are at different tech levels. Some of those orbs were at Mark 2, which is essentially Tech 1, and some of them were at Mark 1, which is essentially Tech 0. So I have 2 evolve buttons. And this factory's finished evolving, but we're going to evolve it again because we want to get all the benefits of evolving this factory. So that'll make the units that come out of it stronger. They'll have more health, more damage, and they'll fire faster. Notice my energy is fluctuating pretty heavily, but we're doing a lot better because now we have these advanced generators going up, and they give us 20 income. But we're hurting on supply. Our army count is really low, so we're going to go ahead and queue up some units here. And that's the composition that I want to have throughout this game. So I set that, and I don't have to think about it ever again. The factory's on repeat. It's going to make those indefinitely. Okay, and let's go on the attack a little bit. Let's get these storage going up. Notice that my resource storage is increasing every time we make a storage. I'm going to be spending a lot of energy income evolving these mexes, but this is important because this will give me an economy boom when they're finished. So doing this puts me at a little bit of a disadvantage because I can't take a big fight. I simply don't have the energy income for it. So I do have to hedge my bets a little bit, but these evolves are already half done. So I can take strategic fights, and I can give up ground where I need to. And notice the amount of metal those are outputting now. The metal amount displayed below the resource location is what the T0, what the Tech 0 metal extractor puts out. Okay, so let's get all these evolved. Okay, there we go. I know this is a lot to see, but this is pretty much how a normal game goes. Now, you might not be this fast, and that's fine. I've been playing this game for a long time. I've been developing it for an even longer time, so it's okay if you're not this fast. But I'm giving you an idea of what's going on. So, okay. The enemy's moving in, and their forces are better than mine, but there's fewer. So, I'm just going to dive in here on top of these guys. My metal extractors are still evolving. I'm going to evolve these 2 to Tech 2. Okay. And so far, we're doing really good. Now, you'll notice if you zoom in, there's a morph bar or evolve bar, and that will actually show you the percentage that it's at. Okay, see, now I'm getting hit from behind, and worse, I can't even see where I'm getting hit from because I don't have line of sight in that area. There we go. Okay. Now, every time my factory finishes evolving, the build queue gets reset, so it's very important to go back and reset the build queue. Now keep in mind, you can you can group up units using control 1 through 0. So you can have up to 10 unit groups. And also, more importantly, as you'll see in a little bit, you can automatically group units as well. So let's say you have some tanks and they're not assigned to a group, but you decide, okay, these are attacking units and I want them always to be on group 2. So I can use Alt and 1 through 0 to set them to an auto group. That means that every time that unit is built in the future, in this game and future games, it will automatically be assigned to group 2. So in subsequent games, I don't need to go back. Alrighty, so we're getting kind of hurt up here. Kind of breaking even, really. And unfortunately, we probably don't have nearly as much map control as we should have, I'm sorry. But we're going to keep evolving. We're going to keep getting these heavier units out and see what we can do. But we're going to put some cloaking jammers up front, and we're going to put some shielding here too. And the idea here is that we can keep our units underneath the cloaking and shielding, so that way we can not only get the first shot in a battle, but also the shields should be able to absorb some of the incoming fire so we don't lose units so quickly. Okay, we're hitting supply here, and I'm going to have to take this guy off of repeat and have him build a bunch of supply depots. Okay, so we have our cloaking field and jammer generators built, and so we're going to retreat into them. Now keep in mind, every time a unit fires, it's going to uncloak. This is just to get us the first shot advantage. You see there? It didn't even know that we had those units over there. And we have the shield generators going up. Unfortunately for us, the shield generators do not start with full shield right away, so they have to build up. So in the process, we might end up losing a lot of units here. But we can try to keep up with the flood here. Okay. So our Tech 3 is 70% done. Let's go ahead and evolve these orbs, because as soon as we get Tech 3, we're going to immediately jump into Tech 3 metal extractors. That's super important because we have to get that income up. And right now, we're getting barraged by artillery. And it's really hurting us. I'm about to lose that shield generator. That's pretty much a lost cause. And these guys up front are really hurt. As you can see there, the area of effect from those artillery shots just massacred them. So basically, we're probably going to have to give up ground here. I'm going to try to put up an immolator, which is... it specifically does a lot of damage to armored units. Now, you'll notice some units have a little icon. It's a little gray and white icon, like those tanks right there in the middle. They have a little gray and white icon. That means that they are armored. Now, very few units in the game are armored, but the ones that are armored, essentially they take less damage. Now, there are a few specific units that do more damage to armored, but that's kind of an edge case. Just basically think about it in the fact that armored units will generally take less damage in general. And okay, so we've got a little problem over here. We have one basher, I can tell by the laser. We've got one basher invading our base. Can't really do a whole lot about it because I don't want to give up the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two spas, send them over there, and freeze it. Assuming it doesn't just kill them outright, but I don't think it will. And in the meantime, I'm going to build a little lightning rod turret, which is great versus lightly armored units, so basically just about everything. And we will kill it. You'll notice the basher is armored because it has that white and gray thing, so it'll take less damage from the turret, but it will still get killed. There aren't really any hard counters in Evolution RTS, but there are soft counters. In other words, basically, you'll never have an army that's absolutely worthless versus other units, but the effectiveness might be reduced. Okay, so for example of that, like let's say you have a bunch of raider units going up against these crushers, which I'm using, which are kind of like main battle tanks. They're armored, so the raiders would be at a disadvantage. Okay, so you can see my emulator there is doing work, and what you may have noticed is that it can also be independently evolved. It can be evolved up to Mark IV, and they get health bonuses as well as damage bonuses, as well as their refire rate goes up too. But keep in mind, the more damage and the faster it fires, the more energy it will use to fire. Now in this case, it's not really a concern because we have plenty of energy income. At this point, our biggest problem is the fact that we can't really keep up our production to keep pace with the amount of units that we have coming in. And so we've got some artillery shooting these guys. Artillery is generally meant for destroying structures, but it can do a pretty good job at softening up incoming units. And here our army is just getting absolutely massacred. The emulator, once again, is doing a lot of great work. And at this point, I decide, you know what, let's make a shield overseer, because the shield overseer might be able to help these other shields. Now, keep in mind, overlapping shields will charge one another. So they help each other charge up. So when you make a bunch of shields, like Kmars here, which you'll see in the middle, you want to overlap them if you can, because then they will help each other charge up. But unfortunately, at this point, they're just getting hammered too much. They never had a chance to really charge themselves up. And you'll see here, like, you know, a shot occasionally here and there is getting intercepted, but generally their, you know, shots are getting through and they eventually just get wrecked. And unfortunately, things are looking fairly grim for me right here. So we're going to push in a little bit and see what we can do. Keep in mind, the Overseer is now a shield Overseer. And I'm going to try to put some shields on the back end, just give us a little bit more damage absorption. But unfortunately, there's just too much incoming damage here. Okay, Tech 3 finished, so now we're evolving all of those things. We don't necessarily have the energy to spare here, but we have enough income to the point to where we can absorb the energy hits from these. Okay, we have people coming in on our right side. Can't do a whole lot about it, unfortunately. And that's really bad news, because that's a crusher, and I believe it's a Mark IV crusher. Our units are still Mark III. So essentially, we're fighting better units. And in order to tell what level an opponent's units are, you'll need to click on them. And in the description in the bottom left, you'll see whatever the unit name is and whatever mark it is. So it could be Mark I through Mark IV. Which also will be a good indicator at what tech level he is too. Because if he has Mark IV units, then he has Tech 3. Okay, so basically right here I just selected all units with Control A and hit Control D for self-destruct. And at the end of the game you get this graph. You also see your enemy's base on the minimap. As you can see, I never had a chance. But this graph will show you metal used, metal produced, and stuff like that. So it's really useful. Hope you found this tutorial good, and I'll see you next time.